Hello, hello, hello. Thank you. For those of you who don't know, I'm Victoria Brownlee. I'm the owner of Creating from Within, which is a mindful coaching space. And not too long ago, I had this idea or this urge to share people's stories and create a platform within Creating from Within where people have the opportunity to share their stories because we learn through stories and through people sharing their life experiences. And so, as I was scrolling through my social media and my interactions on a daily basis, I realized that I have some pretty amazing people in my life. And Jessie and I, we went to high school together, AC Reynolds. And the crazy thing is we haven't spoken in over 20 years, which is probably when we were in high school, but we've seen each other on social media, stayed connected. And I just feel like after watching Jessie and her story, I wanted her to be able to share it with the Creating from Within community. So Jessie, do you mind telling them a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. First, thanks for having me. And yes, it's been a long time, not to age myself, but yes, it's been a while. So, hey everyone, my name's Jessie. As Victoria said, we went to high school together. I am 35 years old. I am a mother of two, a girl and a boy, 2-year-old boy, 12-year-old, going on 20 girl. If y'all can relate, that's why I'm sitting in my car. So I can have a conversation without being interrupted. But yeah, so, and it's crazy when people ask me about myself, one of the new adjectives I have to add in there is a survivor. I'm currently, I was diagnosed the week of my birthday, which was the end of July, with stage 3 invasive ductal carcinoma, which is a form of breast cancer. The doctor said I've had it for about 7 years, and I did not know. And so unfortunately, that's why it is now at a stage 3. Within that, before I had always, those that know my story, some do, some don't. For you that don't, it's been kind of a rough journey that actually led up to my cancer journey. But I had lost both my parents at an early age. My parents were both in their 50s, both died of massive heart attacks, ironically, on the same day, 8 years apart. Also lost my brother, who was my best friend. I lost my best friend and ex. So it's been a very traumatic couple of years. And when I finally, see the light at the end of the tunnel, find out I have cancer during a global pandemic. But I always tell people this cancer, I've been through worse, and I have. This will just be the hardest thing I've been through physically. But emotionally, when you bury your parents and your brother, you can't really, with the exception of a child, God forbid, you can't really get much more grief-stricken than that. So not to get off on a tangent, but yeah, that's me. I'm Jessie. Here I am.
No, thank you. Thank you for sharing and sharing so many vulnerable moments. And there's so many pieces in there um, that just you mentioning it, just the resilience within your voice as you speak about each. Um, and especially being in this moment, finding out the news in July. You said July, right? You found it out in
Mm-hmm.
July. Finding out the news in July, what would you tell Jessie as a younger girl, maybe 15 years old? What would you tell Jessie, knowing, being through all of the experiences that you've had, knowing this today? What would you tell that 15-year-old Jessie?
Um, Buckle up, girlfriend. No, I would tell 15-year-old Jessie to, geez, love my mom. Love my mom a little more. Um, she's the first parent that I lost. And I actually lost her before I was able to become a parent. And so I find myself a lot of the time now, especially with my teenager, thinking, damn, mom, did I put you through this too? Like, I'm sorry. And just kind of, I would tell her, just really hold on to the people closest to you. Because one day all you'll be left with is pictures. And I would also tell 15-year-old Jessie that you don't know it yet, but you're one of the strongest people on this planet.
Wow. 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 That just gave me chills listening to you say that. And I really felt that statement. You're the strongest woman on this planet. How do you feel like that would have changed some of your experiences after that?
Um, how do I feel it changed my experiences after losing my parents or after
No,
losing my
just
mom?
no. When you said you would tell your that you're
Telling my
you're
15-year-old
one
self.
of the strongest, yes,
Oh,
not necessarily changing any events, but how do you feel like it would have changed the way you show up?
um, I think hindsight is 2020, and if I were able to go back to that 15-year-old self who, wow, you make me get deep, girl. um,
Look,
I
and
think that
you tell me to pull back whenever you're ready.
no, it's
Okay.
fine. Um, I think that I would have shown up a lot braver. Um, than I just feel like who I was before the all the tragedies, and then who I feel like it's two completely different people. Like who I was when I had my mom or I had my dad or I had my brother is completely different than who I am now. But then again, like this whole cancer thing has made me a completely whole different person as well. So I'm just continually like every day I wake up. One of my favorite, I've always been like one of those girls that like looks up different quotes and stuff like from movies and stuff like that. And I remember when I was in, yes, I have like a whole notebook of them. But when I was in the depths of my grief, I the this quote from the movie Castaway stuck with me, and I never forget it, and it's still true to this day. I just said it this morning: as you keep breathing, because the sun will rise, and who knows what the tide will bring. And that's been a big thing for me. Is I've gotten to the point where um, I didn't want to wake up anymore because the pain was so intense. But I kept breathing, and I kept breathing, and God kept showing out, and the tide kept bringing something in to keep me going. And that's what I plan on keep doing through this whole cancer journey. Because I gotta keep showing up for not only myself but my kids. Yeah, you got me crying, Oprah.
I know. Listen, I'm leaning into that right now, and I'm sending you all types of energy. And if I had some tissue there, that's That's the part of having to do everything virtually.
Yeah,
But I hope you feel my heart and my love through the
I do.
screen because it's right there. Um, and thank you for sharing that quote. And that is powerful. I'm a quote person too. Um, that is powerful. I'm going to definitely write that down when I listen to this again, because that hit me, and that goes into this next piece of every day, because you said something that's so powerful. In each experience, you came out a different person. You weren't the same. You weren't the same. And I think even us realizing in the world today, things can change all the time and things aren't the same. Um, how did you create that space within yourself to to constantly move through those experiences, creating a new self?
Um, I I don't like saying I couldn't have done it without my kids, because at the end of the day, like, I'm not a give up type of person. Um, I think what I draw, I don't know how. I honestly, people ask me, I don't get how you're so strong. How do you do it, Jessie? Like, I don't I don't get it. And then if it's, when people see, I may go off on a tangent here, but I just had a boss of mine, from about 10 years ago, reach out to me, seeing my diagnosis. And after several expletives, she's like, I'm so sorry for all these expletives on a Sunday morning, but I do not get why you keep going through all this stuff. She's like, it's not fair. Um, and it's not, life's not fair. But I know that the sun will rise and the tide will come, and God's going to bring something that next day for me to keep me fighting. And right now, I'm going for my kids, because they don't just deserve a healthy mom, they deserve a happy mom. And nobody in this world can give them that but me. And so I do it for my kids, and I do it for myself, and I do it for my parents.
Mm.
Let me tell you something.
Yes.
And sorry, y'all. They put me in medical menopause,
Yes.
so I
Yes.
get hot flashes,
Mhm.
and I'm having one right now.
That's okay.
Um, it's so crazy how God works, and how I know without a shadow of a doubt that there is something so much bigger than this world that we're in right now. Um, my mom, both my mom and my dad, they, and my brother, especially my brother, there's not a day that goes by that they don't let me know that they're here fighting with me. Whether it's a song on the radio or little inside jokes we had. And today, remember how I told you this church blessed us with a new washer and dryer and dishwasher? Well, when the pastor came and handed the gift card to me, he said, here you go. All you have to do is go to Lowe's and ask for Jim. And that's my dad. That's my dad's name. So
Mm.
it gets even crazier. We go to Lowe's, meet this guy, Jim, and it turns out him and my dad had golfed at that same golf course around the same time. So it was just, I called it a divine connection. He called it a divine appointment. So before this call, I was at a divine appointment with Jim. So yeah, it's little things like that that give me strength. It's not just one big thing. It's like the little things like that, you know, the little things the tide will bring in that give me strength. Because every day the sun will rise, and every day the tide does come in, and every day God does show up and show out. And who am I to not show up and show out too? Because if I can get through that, cancer don't stand a fucking chance. Excuse my language. But
Jessie, those are miracles. Those are miracles, Jessie. And I admire you being present enough to know that and notice that and see that, and all that you're going through, all that you went through, still be present enough. And someone told me a while back, well, it was actually Maya Angelou. I love her to death, and I was watching her. And in one of her interviews, she was basically talking about our purposes in life and what keeps us going, and finding that purpose, whatever it is. And that will keep us in this moment and keep us present enough to notice the miracles. And it sounds like you found your purpose, which are your babies and your family members. And that keeps you focused, and then you notice them every day, and being able to recognize those miracles when they are there, and allowing them to come in. That story that you just told hit me so hard. I keep on saying it hits me so hard, and it gives me chills, and people recognize it gives me chills. Like, I get goosebumps all the time, but I know, like you said, there's something higher, and there's a higher spirit. And that moment right there is those little drops in the bucket, like Oprah says, like the
yep.
universe, God will nudge you and give you those signs, and those are those signs.
I do want to share one more thing with you. If you, so one of the things that gives me strength, like the little miracles, you know, of those that have passed on way too early, let me know they're here. So my brother, we were 18 months apart. He was like my best friend, and we would always joke that life, how unfair life was. Like, not only did we lose our mom so young, but then our dad died. And so we would joke that, like, oh, hey, he would call me, oh, I'm surprised I came home from work and my house wasn't burnt down with our luck. And it's funny. Well, I guess not funny, but now have stage 3 cancer. Like, but the part I was going to tell you where I draw strength is, so after he passed, which was unexpected, completely, 32 years old, no, just completely unexpected. Devastation couldn't even describe how I felt. So anyway, I went back up to Michigan. My sister got her master's in counseling and psychology, ironically, because we all made it. And I kept having dreams that night about my brother, and the colors yellow and black, or Batman, he kept showing those in the dream. And Batman had no significant meaning to me at all. So I woke up the next morning, I asked my sister, I'm like, Julia, do you know like what Batman means? Chris kept coming to me in my dream. Batman, Batman, Batman. She's like, no, but you know, my school colors are, you know, gold and black. And I was like, no, Chris was really persistent about Batman. So I just tucked it in the back of my head. I was like, Batman, I don't know if it will come to me some way, somehow, if Chris is trying to, you know, let me know he's here. So long story short, we went to go pick up my nephew's girlfriend, who ironically had, since Chris died, there was an extra ticket to her graduation. So we go to pick up the girlfriend. Her name was Chloe at the time. And my daughter Janae goes, "Mommy, look at her shirt." So I look out and she's wearing a Batman shirt. And so the rest of the day, everything was just like Batman symbols, Batman colors. And still to this day, like every day I see Batman. So I'm like, okay, Batman, where does that come from? And so before we left that day, we had a medium come over. Some people believe in it, some don't, whatever. I choose to believe that it's real. You don't have to. So we asked the medium, after talking to her about, my dad and my mom, I was like, what's with this whole Batman thing? Please tell me, because Chris will not leave me alone. So she paused and tears start just like flowing down her face. And she grabbed my hand and she's like, "Do you know who Batman is?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's a superhero." She's like, "No. Do you know the story of Batman?" And I was like, "No, not really." She's like, "Look what happened to Batman. Batman lost his mom, his dad, his family. Batman is the only self-made superhero." And she's like, "And your brother's wanting me to tell you that you're his, and you keep going and you keep fighting." So
Jessie.
that's my son's car seat. Every day I see Batman. Not just that. Every day I see Batman. And it's the craziest thing. They say, like, you never notice how many white trucks there are until I never noticed how many Batmans there were, in this world. And I live in Nashville, and downtown on the skyline is the Batman building, the BB&T building. So anyway, that's one of the things that I draw strength on, is maybe I am a superhero. Maybe it's something I built myself, and my brother gives me those reminders that, I am strong and I can do this. And it's through Batman. I don't know. That's one of the things I draw strength on. So.
Well, Jessie, I know you said you don't know, but
I know.
this experience right here, you are my superhero. So if you don't know, now you know.
Now you know. Thank you.
That you, and for you to be able to talk about each experience in the way you've talked about these experiences, you make up the characteristics of a superhero. You can do anything.
Thank you. I guess cancer is my kryptonite, but you know what? I got 4 more rounds of chemo to go, and a double mastectomy, and then I'm gonna be cancer free. I'm claiming it. And I know that I got people fighting for me on the other side too. They don't want to see me just yet. I know they don't.
I'm fighting for you. And I
Thank you.
know the community of Creating from Within is fighting for you, because I appreciate you for being so vulnerable and open to share. These are the stories that change lives. And I just know whoever is listening to this, or whoever will listen to this, I know their lives will be forever changed, Jessie.
Well, I hope so. I hope that people, when they feel like giving up, don't. My best friend gave up. Don't give up. Life's there's so many things worth fighting for. There really are. And I've had a lot of people come up to me when they lose someone in their lives, when they lose a parent or a brother. I'm kind of that go-to person. So maybe that is like, my superhero power is to help others. So yeah, holler at your girl if you're sad. I got you.
That is your power. That is your power, amongst a lot of other things. Last question.
Yes.
What would you tell people is most important about life? What is most important?
That it's short. It's not promised. It's not promised to you. It's not promised to your parents. It's not promised to your brother. It's not promised. It's not promised. Like, it's so cliche and it's so corny, but out of everything I've learned, everything that I've been through, life is short. You got to show up and you got to show out every day. And no matter how many times life tries to knock you down, you get back up and you keep fighting. And, I tell my child's father, I was like, I love to smile and I love to laugh. Nothing's going to change that. Like, cancer is not going to change that. Grief's not going to change that. I pride myself on making at least one person laugh per day. My oncologist told me that out of his 25 years in being in the practice, no one has ever made him laugh that hard. In the room while he's diagnosing me with stage 3 cancer, I had him belly laughing so hard. And that's something that nobody can take away from me. That's one thing life can't, is, you got to find the humor in it. You got to appreciate it. Every day is a gift. That's why they call it the present. Um, you got to live life like that. Love who you love. Like, today's the last day you're going to see him, because you never know. You never know.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I did not expect, excuse me, to be crying. I'm going to call you Oprah.
Thank you. Absolutely love you to pieces.
Yes, I love you back.